Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're going to take a look at the Tidal Rising documentary that was done on The Warning. It came out in February of 2022, right about the time Error was coming out, or at least was being promoted. It was in the heavy promotion phase. It is going to give us a little bit of insight, I think, on that album. We have gotten a lot of insights on the band before the album. This is probably the first thing that we've watched where we're looking specifically at what they did while they were making this album. And we enjoy this album quite a lot. I think maybe, yep, see, I've got it back there on my LP rack, ready to go. I've heard it many times since getting it now, since we've done all the songs, reacted to all of them. If you'd like to see any of those reactions, we have a playlist called Our Warning Reactions, and there are also a bunch of smaller playlists related to The Warning and the various shows they've done. So anyway, we wanted to take a look at this. So it's about 20 minutes long. We will pause it occasionally. So Adrian, can I assume you haven't really seen this yet?
I don't think I have.
Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it.
Obviously started playing here in Mexico, where Mexicans were from Mexico. So our first shows were always here in our home and then just across the country.
Yeah, okay.
And I feel like we've seen it grow over the years and how we started and just our crowd. And it makes me so excited that people my age are looking for this energy and like this music specifically. There aren't a lot of female-led rock bands, only woman rock bands. So she started working as a young teen, a kid. Mm-hmm. We didn't even start out as women. Like we started out as little girls in this industry. Children, literally. Yes. It involves a lot, and we were doing it with our parents. Like we were pretty protected. Like they supported us so much. They got us into lessons. Like they bought us our instruments. Like they give us the liberty to like really concentrate on music.
Because imagine you're like just a teenager, maybe 13, and you want to do this, but of course there's tons of different things that you want to try out and do. So like sticking with it was also hard, you know.
Band started out as a 5-member band. Our parents are part of the band. Right now, obviously, our family has grown a bit more, like with our team, our management, and everyone that works with us. But as we keep on working, that is always like the center of everything, and everyone we start working with starts feeling like family, because we've always had that vibe. I feel like we've learned how to be like disciplined and responsible and like level-headed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really important for the industry that we're in. Mm-hmm. So a big hug to mom and dad for everything.
What we think really got us into this energetic music and rock and roll was definitely the Rock Band, the video game. We loved to play that game, and it was so fun that we just like looked at the screen and we want to do that. I told my dad, like, I want to play the guitar, and he's like, are you sure? And I was like, of course. By the first week, my fingers hurt so much, and I was like, please, no. But I fell in love with it, and there was no going back.
I've been playing for 13 years. I don't like that number, but okay, 13 years. And I've been playing since I was a little kid. I would always play on the drums, like the toy drums. And I remember I really liked hitting Thanks. So it was like a perfect match for me. And my dad saw that I have really good coordination. And he asked me like, hey, like, are you up for lessons? Like, do you want to give it a shot? And I was like, yeah. Nobody wanted to give me lessons. I looked like a toddler.
I mean,
and like I was super short. Like playing the drums, it didn't look very, very promising for me. But I met one teacher and I had like a test class. And the teacher was like, oh, leave her with me. Like she'll be good. Like, let's do this.
My parents bought me my first bass, and of course I was really young and really short, and I couldn't play a full-scale bass, so they bought me a smaller bass, which I have right here.
Right there.
Yeah. It's really small, and I still couldn't play that, and I learned for about a month, and then we started playing together immediately. So I didn't really have like that much time to get used to my instrument before we started playing together.
Okay, wait, I know that this isn't part of it. I'm going to ask you a question.
Do it.
Because it's like...
Do it.
Because I know, this isn't my place, but I will. Because there's a lot of people who tell you, like, why don't you play with a pick? Because normally rock music is just like... But you, like, from the start,
I
was
always
like
played with my
finger
fingers.
style.
I know how to play with a pick now, and I really do like the sound of it. But I don't know, I just always played with my fingers, and I do feel more comfortable with my fingers, even though I do play more on time with a pick. It's weird. It does hurt more though, but
I get it. It's like when I play without shoes and when I play with shoes.
I
get it.
I get it. She's a finger picking player. I mean, that's where she's comfortable. So I have a question for you, Adrian. Have you ever played Rock Band?
No, I've never gotten to play it. I've seen the video game. I've been at places where they had it.
Okay, so you're familiar with it anyway. You get the concept.
A little bit, yeah. A lot of the buttons on like the guitar fretboard, for example, it'll be like one button for each fret. So
right, and then it just comes at you.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good practice.
Well, yeah, somewhat. I mean, put it this way: it's definitely good for stimulating your eye-to-hand coordination.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily good practice for actually playing the musical instrument.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does serve a function, and certainly it was inspiring for them, so that's good. I just want to note that it took Allie 4.5 minutes to finally say something in the video. And of course, both her sisters jumped in while she was speaking, which to me seems like the typical thing, but I just thought that was worth mentioning. It's pretty amusing actually seeing that small bass and how small she still was, even with the small bass. How do I hold this thing up? Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it looked like a monster when she was carrying.
Yeah. Of course, now she's the one that looks like she's bigger than the other two. All right, let's continue.
Turning point in our careers. Like, we did our Enter Sandman cover, which went viral. But I feel like the point where we were like, we really want to do this, like, for the rest of our lives, was when we started writing our own music and releasing our own stuff. That was like, whoa. Like, we can create something, put it out in the world, and people react to it. It was just something that we really, really liked and looked forward to. So now that we're doing what we do today, like I just feel like it's the thing that really keeps us going, our music. Of course, like any type of siblings, like we have our disagreements and our little fights and stuff like that, but we get along really well.
And I know each other so well that we know how to make it work.
Exactly. And in the second that we start writing music, everything just flows really nicely. Like, I don't know what to call it except like sibling magic. Escape the Mind, those were our first compositions ever. That was our first time writing. I was like 12, Danny was 14, and I was 9. We were children. But it was the moment where we really fell in love with music and like what we wanted to do. Like creating something was just such a powerful experience.
And you know, it was such a key thing, I think, personally, that we were not thinking about will people like it, because we were not going to release it. We were not even going to record it. It was not going to be a thing. So we just literally wrote from our 14-year-old hearts.
And I'll walk until the very top, and I'll run, even though I stumble.
And then we jump into our first album, 21st Century Blood. And it was weird because some of the compositions that are in 21st Century Blood were written in the same time as Escape the Mind. Mm-hmm. But there was this very big leap we gave with this song that we made called Free Falling.
It was the first song we actually wrote
Together.
Yeah. And you know, it was also a big thing that we started like looking for outside inspiration. We really like what's happening in the world that we can write about.
And more than anything, like we read so much and we consume a lot of media, as any Gen Z teen does. So we were constantly getting inspired by other stories that we were hearing. Mm-hmm. So 21st Century Blood was like, we felt like it was our first step. Mm-hmm. You know, like, okay, we're a band now. This is our album.
And nothing will change. I'm crashing through space. I'm burning up, and there's nothing I can put out this place.
And one thing that I really like that we do, we really looked for what the song needed. We were like, okay, so what if this is a song with only piano, violins, and stuff like that? Like, we didn't focus on, oh, we have to be rock. We just focused on the energy that went into the song. So if you hear our music, sometimes it will be very varied within the same album.
I'm going to stop it again just to talk about that a little bit. I think that's really good advice, is to put together, by the way, here's the first album. And probably River's Soul was around early on. That's my guess anyway. Maybe others can tell me. But it's always a good idea to approach songwriting and structuring an arrangement for a song by going, what does this need? You know, and also, what does this not need? You know, and being very judicious about that and trying different things, not overpowering the song, making sure that it states what you want it to state emotionally and otherwise. And I thought they did a really good job of that. And they pretty much always have. Yeah, Escape the Mind, those were early. That is funny that they weren't even going to record them at all. So this would be the kind of the first time they actually meant to put out music as the band that they are. Interesting. Okay, let's continue.
But then Queen of the Murder Scene comes. It's our second album. And Queen of the Murder Scene, I was in middle school. I started going through my emo phase. So you can hear clearly there how that shift and like I'm angsty now.
You don't really wanna feel like me.
These songs and these albums like grew with us. It's literally, you can see like the change.
Yeah,
in
you can feel the
personality.
Yeah,
our
and
music.
Queen of the Murder Scene is a concept album. It tells a story.
A novel.
It was like a novel, and it was a really different process writing songs to fit a narrative and a plot.
It was really hard.
It was hard because we had some, and then we had to add like the filler episodes, but we didn't want them to feel like filler songs. So we really had to put meaning into every single little part. But I was like really into this idea of making it a whole album about this story. Yeah. And when I told them about it, they were like, what?
Why is there blood everywhere?
Why? I was like, please hear me out.
We had to change
so much.
Like a lot of the storyline because it was it wasn't
It
even
wasn't
that
like
much of a
that.
storyline.
It was just like
murder.
Too much blood and guts.
But at the same time,
you were getting into.
I was getting into K-pop.
Yes, that's true. I just
So
remember that.
we took the emo face K-pop like
Route.
express line, right?
Yeah.
So you can hear a lot of influences in there that maybe you don't pinpoint them as such, but for us it's really apparent like which phases we were going
That key
through.
change into
Those
one.
key
Like,
changes, those harmonies, like it was all very K-pop-y for us.
it's a thing that we also love to do. That as we start learning new ways of doing this, we just like, okay, what's the next thing that we can try out with our music?
Yeah.
So
And
it's
in,
very
in
fun.
Queen of the Murdercino was key changes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was
Definitely.
change the key.
That was a theme.
We have noted that on several occasions.
Coming from Queen of the Murder Scene, things are really different now. Because I feel like we really grew as people,
Even
as
more.
musicians.
Like
Right?
from
'Cause
those two.
We're going through our teenage years. Of course, you grow a lot from one year to another. And you start living different experiences and stuff like that. So I feel like this third album is personal.
Yeah.
Like it talks more about our feelings or situations that are close to us or our opinions on certain situations. Bob was one of the songs that we started writing together and we had music first
Yeah.
before lyrics and melody. It's usually the other way around. So the three of us were in this room
Yeah.
and Danny and I were like playing, like getting the riff. And I was like, let me write a melody really quickly for the verse and just like put some lyrics on there. I was like, hey, that's a good line.
That's a cool
I'm not in
line.
danger, I'm the danger.
I do feel that it encases what this new album represents for us, the changes that we went through as musicians, as people, and in writing, because we saw things differently. Like right now, we really concentrated on writing like harmonies and how like the bass and the drums were going to play together. And then differently at the same time.
Gonna pause this again for just a second. Wait, was she wearing a baby shark or what was that? Was it a
I
unicorn or a
don't know
bird?
what that was. It kind of looked like a bird or something.
That's funny. Yeah, they've got very complimentary songwriting skills. This is their secret weapon, that they're able to work together and they're able to help finish each other's songs and thoughts and what have you. That is huge. I think that's a big part of their success as a songwriting team.
I had a great time hearing the earlier versions of these songs. And
It said Mayday up there. That's the EP that came out first before Error. Because of the pandemic, they ended up releasing half the album when it was done, 6 songs, and put it on Mayday. And then those same 6 songs made it onto Error with 7 more. So let's continue.
Like there is so much room to grow. And we always enter these situations like with big wondrous eyes. Like we're gonna learn today. What are we gonna learn now?
What's gonna happen
Yeah.
now?
Jenny seems unconvinced.
Oye, ¿cómo va? Mi ritmo bueno para gozar. Mulata, oye, ¿cómo va? Mi ritmo bueno para gozar.
Oye, ¿cómo va?
Pam, 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 pam.
Oh, you should.
Definitely performing our songs live is a totally different universe. Like we treat it as such, even ourselves. We know it's nothing like recording in a studio, but it's so much fun. You're like directly sharing and expressing to the people who are watching you.
And I feel like
live.
our past albums, we try to grab like the sound like how we sound live into our recordings, and we never really
we have never accomplished
never accomplished that until like
this
third
third
album.
album.
I've already collapsed, so I'll just drown my sorrows in a non-existent world.
We put in a lot of hard work
Yep.
into our live
shows.
shows. We really plan everything out, and we practice it a lot.
And even our movements, like if you see us playing in our early stages of the band, we're just like statues. And that's something that we actually worked on consciously. It's like how to play, being able to like jump around and bring more energy to the show.
Like we make fun of each other while we're on stage.
And I know like I shouldn't really be like saying this, but even when we mess up, we're like, oh, you messed up. Like,
we just look at each other like you messed up.
When we play a show in our country and in our home city, it's just absolutely amazing.
Actually, our last show that we played was in Mexico City, and we hadn't been to Mexico City in a long time.
Yeah.
So coming back and seeing that we had more fans, like there were a lot of people watching us. It was just insane. It was one of the best shows
People
we've ever
like
had.
screaming our songs. We actually have like a video where you hear everyone singing on top of like it's
like you can't hear us. Mexico really has something very special.
a big scene
Like-
of energetic people
Yeah,
ready
people are
for
really
metal.
passionate about music in general here in Mexico, and the crowds were always really energetic.
Like this energy that they transmit, you just can't help but give it back. It's really about making like a personal connection of what you want to transmit through your instrument. Cause I look at our past videos, like our covers,
No.
and I'm like, no, what are you doing? But we were so young, we were starting out, so it's okay. But I feel like that's a really nice thing. Looking back and seeing how much you've improved and how much you've grown.
And you're always your own worst critic.
At the end of the day, like, there's a goal and there's something that you want to reach. And it's really about putting in a lot of work.
And just also be very conscious that the people who work around you are different, are going through different things and will think differently than you. There's no one that will think exactly like you. So taking things with a grain of salt and not taking things personal for it to ruin like your experience is a key thing. As sisters, we really have like that separate, our working selves and our sister selves.
So they have a thick skin being sisters.
Sometimes people have these stereotypes or these stigmas. Like we've seen it in places we played in festivals and stuff like that. Like the treatment is really different to like other bands, like male bands. But we see that change after like
We play.
yeah, we play and then like people's faces completely change. And like everyone's just so
Which is fun to
excited.
see, because they remind themselves that it doesn't matter who is playing, their age, whatever it is. It's about the music.
Music is the language. It doesn't matter like where you're from, like what language you
Yes.
speak, like anything. Like music is the language.
You're the best.
So as it turns out, this documentary was really based on the Mayday EP that came out, which is technically part of the Error album. It's just that came later. Again, it came out early because of the pandemic and the fact they couldn't tour, so they thought it would be nice to share some of the music. And it occurred to me while watching this, we haven't reacted to any of the actual official music videos from the Error album. So we might want to do that sometime in the near future. We did see the one for Disciple, actually, now that I think about it, but not sure that we've seen any others. Adrian, did you have any other thoughts after watching that?
Oh, it's just impressive. You know, they're very tight. They work, really well together, and it helps they're all sisters.
Yeah, I agree. And they are so good at working together. They really have an ideal situation. You know, if you're going to have a group of writers working closely together, and you want to make sure they have thick skin and that they're actually receptive to each other's ideas. I mean, this is great, if it's all sisters, especially if it's sisters that get along really well and have similar musical tastes. It's just a perfect storm kind of a situation. Yeah. I found it interesting that they said that early on their parents were in the band too. So, which makes me wonder what they played. But anyway, cool little tidbit. Of course, they're doing it. I mean, I can say all on their own. Creatively, they're doing a lot on their own. And of course, still credit their team, their family, their friends, their patrons, and all of that, which have certainly helped facilitate all of this. And I'm thankful for all those people, too, for getting this band out there. This is really a fun group to listen to. Really enjoy the music. We've really gotten into this group over the last couple of months, and it's great that they're out there. I'd have to say it's probably my favorite modern group.
It's probably the best modern group I know of. I hadn't paid a lot of attention to modern music until we started doing The Warning and Bandmade and other videos.
Mm-hmm.
They're more from this time. And so
right, yeah.
It's really a pleasant surprise to me.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, honestly, we've been listening to a lot of new bands, and there's a lot of good talent out there. But this one just, for me at least, just rises head and shoulders above the others because they've got so much in the foundation of their music, so much invested in there, and they've got such a perfect setup right now for making music. Really enjoyed watching that. It was illuminating. I think we need to get a little bit more into it. We're going to find some other documentaries from this time period and learn a little bit more about how the album itself was made. I know Mayday in the Making is on the list, so... folks, if you have other suggestions for us, you can leave those below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Take care.
See you all later.